Okay, so a question that I get asked all the time is, how do I get my audio to sound so good when I film with the DJI Osmo Action 4 or the Osmo Action 5 Pro? So in this video, I'm going to run through all the settings that I make sure the camera and the mic are set to, a couple of tips about using the DJI wireless mic, like the Mic 2 or the Mic Mini, and I'll also show you a trick that I do in the edit to further clean up the audio so that it sounds even better than what you get straight out of the mic or the camera. And that trick really gives me crystal clear audio. So I just realised I completely forgot to pack my power station to blow up my paddleboard. So actually I can use my car, can't I? Yeah, of course, I can use my car as long as I've got the correct cable. Hopefully I do, otherwise I'm going to be spending a long time doing this manually. Okay, looks like I did bring the right cable. I actually bought the electric pump. I have it, so I can do this. So glad I don't have to do it with the manual pump. Now this video isn't sponsored by DJI, but it does have a sponsor, which is Artlist. I use Artlist for pretty much every video of mine, but there's a feature that some of you I think are going to find quite useful, so I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So assuming you've connected the mic, you'll need to go into two different menus in order to adjust the mic settings. I'm going to start with the settings menu, and this does differ a little bit across the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro, so I'll start off with the Action 4. Okay, so in the Action 4 main menu, just go down to wireless mic, and then the mic should already be connected. I'm going to start with the Mic 2, seeing as it's just here. Then scroll down to low cut. So I tend to have this off because when you're filming outdoors, you actually don't really need it. And I also found that the audio sounds a little bit strange when the low cut filter is on, so I actually turn that off. 32-bit float recording, that is one of the benefits of using the Mic 2, because it means that it will record a separate file when you hit record with the camera, but only if audio to video sync is on. So when you have audio to video sync on, when you hit record on the camera, it will start recording, and if you have 32-bit float recording turned on, then it will record it in 32-bit float. Otherwise I think it's just 24-bit. Then that is pretty much it for the Mic 2. The Mic Mini menu is slightly different, so let me just disconnect the Mic 2. Okay, that's connected. So this menu is slightly different because there are a couple of things that the Mic Mini doesn't have that the Mic 2 does. So low cut filter, again, that is just set to off because, again, it just doesn't sound very good. Clipping control, so this is something that the Mic Mini has that the Mic 2 doesn't because, well, the Mic 2 has the 32-bit float recording. So clipping control means that if you have someone shouting or the volume starts to get a little bit loud, then it will adjust it so that it doesn't clip the audio and sound distorted. Within reason, you can't go crazy, but it's just a fail-safe to give you a little bit of scope if the audio levels get a little bit loud in your video and you have no way of controlling it. So definitely keep that on because it will mean that you are more likely to get less distortion in your audio if you're in loud environments. Now with the Action 5 Pro, here's what you're going to want to change in the main settings menu. So low cut filter, again, off, clipping control on. Okay, there's nothing really in there, it's basically the same. I think the difference was with the Mic 2, so let me turn on the Mic 2. And seeing as I can have two connected at the same time, I'm going to connect to the Mic 2 whilst the Mic Mini is also connected. So if you now have a look at this, you'll see it's kind of split up between the Mic Mini. There are the settings for the Mic Mini, and then it's split with the Mic 2, and these are the settings for the Mic 2. So once again, low cut filter is off. Dual audio recording is basically the same as audio to video sync, it's just called something different. But it's the same so that when you hit record, it'll start recording. Then you've got your 32-bit float recording also on, just like with the Action 4. and that is basically it. So the only difference really is just that naming of the dual audio recording, but everything works the same as the Action 4 in terms of the settings. Now, one of the ways to get the cleanest audio from the microphone is to make sure that the microphone is placed in the best way possible for it to pick up your voice as clearly as possible. And for that, you're going to want to have the mic as close to your mouth as possible. The further away you have it, the more muffled and low quality the sound will be. Alright, so this is actually footage from the Action 5 because even though I've got lights on in here, it still looks better than the Action 4. The Action 4 doesn't do great in low light. Like I said, it's not low light, but it's not the typical situation where you've got loads of light while you're outdoors. But anyway, I digress. So if you imagine you had a backpack and then you wanted to hook your microphone so it was over here instead, even though you can still hear me, it doesn't quite sound as clear as if you had your microphone directly below your mouth and closer to your mouth. So even though it didn't sound bad when it was over here, you can still hear what I'm saying. It sounds a little bit more muffled. It's not as clear as if you have the microphone directly below your mouth. And it's not always possible to do that, I get it. But if it is, and you can have the microphone closer to your mouth, then it's definitely gonna make a difference. But just listen to this again. If it was on a backpack strap and it was over here, again, you can still hear it. It just doesn't sound as clear. So when it's further away, the audio levels are gonna be too low. And then when you try to increase it in post, then the audio is just gonna sound rubbish and it's not gonna come out very well. This of course doesn't necessarily apply to the DJI Mic 2 if you also have it recording internally using 32-bit float, since you could just end up using the separate audio file and having a really high quality, uncompressed recording to fix in the edit. But I see that more as a backup because I feel like it's a bit more of a faff to have to use those additional files when you can just get it right in the camera to begin with, by making sure that the microphone is placed as close to your mouth as possible. Plus, you don't actually have that luxury with the DJI Mic Mini because it doesn't record 32-bit float internally, so it is literally just a microphone, it's not a recorder. So just make sure that you're getting that mic as close to your mouth as possible. And if you're filming outdoors, which I imagine you will be the majority of the time if you're vlogging, then always put the windshield on the mic as well, because even the lightest of breezes can cause distortion and make the audio sound rubbish. The windshield just cuts all that out. So let me just give you a little demonstration. So I've got the windshield on at the moment and there is a light breeze going by. So I've just taken the windshield off, so you should be able to hear a lot of wind hitting that microphone. And if I put it back on, then that should have made quite a difference. And I'm spinning away from the sun. I keep spinning myself to face the sun so that the audio doesn't look, the video quality doesn't look pants. Because shooting backlit with the Action 4 is not the way. So let me just spin myself around. So yeah, if you want to get the cleanest audio without distortion when you're filming outdoors, even with the lightest of breezes, then I definitely recommend putting that windshield on the mic, whether using the Mic Mini or the Mic 2. I'm actually going to head back in because I forgot to bring my spare batteries. I left them in the car and it looks like I don't have much battery life left. So remember, what was I talking about before the battery was about to die? Oh, that was it, getting a clean narrative with the windshield on the microphone. Oh, there's a spider up there. Yeah, getting a clean narrative. So, whilst I am talking about narratives, if you ever wanted to create a voiceover for your videos, then Artlist has this awesome text-to-voice feature that not only lets you generate voiceovers in English, but you can also now generate voiceovers in foreign languages as well. Listen to this.
Ceux qui ne prennent pas de risques ne vivent jamais vraiment. La force ne vient pas des capacités physiques, elle vient d'une volonté indomptable.
It's pretty cool, right? And not only that, Artlist recently added a new feature to AI voiceovers as well. So before, you could only do text to voice, but now you can actually upload a voice clip of your own, and the AI voiceover will generate a high quality AI voiceover that mimics your voice. So the pacing, the tone, the emotion, even the pronunciation. So if you need a voiceover for your video, but you don't want to use your own voice, but you know exactly how you want the narrative to sound with emotion, pauses, intonation, all that good stuff, you can record yourself reciting the narrative and then upload it and get a clean, high quality AI voiceover that you can download and use immediately in your project. Whenever I've done an AI voiceover using text to voice and said my name
is always mispronounced,
whereas now, if I say Tamara,
the AI voiceover will pronounce it accurately.
It's also worth noting that these voiceovers are also covered by the Artlist license, and you can get access to the feature in the Max plan or the dedicated AI voiceover plan. And if you sign up for an annual subscription, you'll also get 2 extra months for free. So I've dropped a link in the description, as you'll need to use that to get your 2 extra months. And thanks to Artlist for sponsoring this video. Okay, so I'm gonna head home so that I can show you the next bit. Okay, so before I actually show you how to enhance the audio quality in the edit to get over a problem that you can't adjust for in the camera settings, I want to actually show you one setting in particular with the transmitter settings that you're actually going to want to apply. Okay, so when it actually comes to the mic settings, whether you use the Action 5 or the Action 4, it's pretty much the same. So you'll go into where the camera settings are, and then you can see this little transmitter here. Click on that. And the main thing that you want to change is the gain, because if you have it too low, then the audio will come out quite low. You'll have to boost it in post, and that can introduce a little bit of background noise, like white noise. So I tend to have my gain set to 7, and that tends to be the kind of sweet spot for me that I've realized. And then the other thing that you do want to make sure is that the transmitter noise reduction setting is off, because if you have it on, then the audio will sound kind of distorted. It doesn't sound very good. The noise reduction doesn't work, and it's something that you can easily do in the edit anyway. So make sure the noise reduction is off, and then have your transmitter gain set to about +6, +7, that works. And this is the same for the Mic Mini as well. So it's pretty much the same. I did just switch over to the Action 5 actually, because there's one more setting that I wanted to show you, which isn't on the Action 4, and it's only within the Action 5. So you can actually change your channel from mono to stereo or in between. So for example, if you were using 2 microphones, you had 2 Mic Minis, 2 Mic 2s, or one of each, you could actually set it to be stereo, so that if you were recording one person speaking on one mic, then it will record on a separate channel, and then it will record the other person speaking on a separate channel on the other microphone. And I believe that you can also record, if you've just got one microphone connected, then you can actually record on one channel with the microphone, and then the other channel records the audio from the actual camera microphone. So if you, for example, wanted to get some ambient sounds, but you also wanted to record your voice through the microphone, then again, it will split it out onto 2 separate channels for you. So that is actually quite useful. So if you apply all those tips, then your audio should be sounding pretty decent. But there is one thing that I have noticed from both of the microphones, to be honest, but I guess more so from the Mic 2. I actually think the Mic Mini sounds better than the Mic 2, but that's just my opinion. But from either of them, it can have a bit of a muffled sound to it. So this is where I go in the edit, and I actually tweak a couple of things just to make the audio sound that little bit cleaner, and just do that very final touch to give it a crystal clear sound. So I'll jump into the edit and show you that. So the first thing that I do when I bring in my video clip is just check the audio levels. So I'm in Final Cut, and you'll see that there's this little icon here. If you click on that, it brings up your audio levels. So if I just play through the clip, I want to make sure that it is sitting around this -6 area, because then I know that the audio levels are high enough and then they don't sound too low. So that's the first thing that I do. And if they do sound low or they're too high, then I'll just use the volume bar here to just adjust it, but I don't need to do that. So in terms of actually cleaning up and making the audio sound clearer, I tend to drop voice isolation on here just so that it takes away some of the background noise. And I only set it anywhere from 20 to 30, it just depends on how much noise is in the background. For this clip, it was so calm and quiet that there wasn't really much to remove, but I just wanted to give my voice a little bit more clarity. And because the audio actually sounds a little bit muffled, like I said before, this is where I will add equalization. And what I tend to do is, again, in Final Cut, there is a bit of a shortcut because you could just do this treble boost. And what that does is adjust the audio so that it takes out that muffled sound. So I'll let you hear it without the equalizer on and then let you hear it with the equalizer on. But I kind of see that as more of a backup because it's more of a faff to have to use. Use those extra files. So you can hear the difference, it definitely sounds better. And if you still feel like it sounds a little bit too muffled, then you can just bring this up a little bit more. So you can select all these points and then you can just kind of raise them up in sequence until it sounds how you want it to sound. And that's pretty much all I need to do. So yeah, give it all a go, see how it works out for you. And if you have any tips as well for anyone else that you use when you're recording your audio, then drop them in the comments. Don't forget to check out Artlist if you do want to add voiceovers to your videos, and use the link in the description where you can get 2 months free on the annual plans. So well worth checking out. Until then, I'll catch you on the next video.